You guys know we've talked about Broward County before, and another egregious act comes out of Broward County to stain this city and this county in a way that I'm sure people aren't going to be happy with. Nonetheless, we're going to talk about this gentleman right here. His name is Florida Sheriff Deputy Willard Miller. Willard Miller. I have never known very many black people to be named Miller, but nonetheless, that's his name. He's 38 years old. He's about my age, right? So I believe that he definitely should have a lot of wherewithal about himself. I don't believe there is any excuse for this particular video. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this, but this is out of Pompano Beach, and a school resource officer was arrested and suspended without pay for slamming a teenage girl with special needs. Now, when I first heard this, I said, okay, I wonder what this teenager did. But when you add that extra special portion on there, when you say special needs, to me, that makes this even worse because of the fact that when you step into a special needs situation, I think that you should have an elevated level of responsibility and delicacy whenever you deal with any situation around special needs children. That's why they call them special needs. Just, God dog, come on, man. What are we doing? He slammed on camera a special needs girl at school to the ground during a violent takedown that was captured on school surveillance video, Broward Sheriff Gregory Tony said on Tuesday. Now, of course, they're going to have everything on video. How many of y'all want to see this video? Because I have the video. I've got a couple of angles, not really angles, but a couple of different videos that's going to actually show this incident. If y'all want to see it, I will happily show it to you. Real quick, let me tell the story. The suspension of 3-year veteran Broward Sheriff's Deputy Willard Miller, who is 38 years old, is the most recent in a string of firings and suspensions by Tony of deputies for excessive force. They quote this as a string of firings and suspensions. Damn. For excessive force and other issues over the past year. So apparently this is a huge problem going on. During a hastily called press conference at BSO headquarters in Fort Lauderdale Tuesday morning, the sheriff said the actions were part of a changing of the culture. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. A changing of the culture at Broward Sheriff's Office, which is BSO. That's what that stands for. A clear shot at his predecessor, Scott Israel. Wow, taking shots in the media, ain't that something? Passing the buck. I don't know. I just don't maybe feel like that's necessary, but let's move on. He quotes, "It's embarrassing, and it goes on every news channel, and it spreads across the country. I'm tired of it," and Miller, who faces 1 count of child abuse, has been released on bail at $5,000. It's a $5,000 bond. Now, on Monday, Tony declared that he will enter the election year to retain his post. So, of course, this is political, and I've told you guys that a lot of your elections more or less count in situations like this. So to the people of Broward County, now is the time to vote. Stop worrying about is Trump going to be impeached. Stop worrying about who the next president is going to be and all of that stuff. You know who you need to be voting for? Vote for your police chiefs. Vote for your mayors. Vote for your senators. Vote in your local elections. This is why it's key, because these are the people either running or ruining your cities. I'm going to say that again. They're either running or ruining your city. Now, let's move on. Israel removed from office by a governor in January in the wake of a 2018 Marjory Stoneman Douglas Senior High School shooting tragedy, is also running for his previous post in the August Democratic primary. He is widely expected to be the biggest threat to Tony maintaining his seat at Broward Sheriff. Okay, so this is a political thing. Okay, so they're taking shots at each other. Now, Miller was arrested and charged Tuesday with child abuse and great bodily harm. He has been a school resource officer at Cross Creek School in Pompano Beach for almost 2 years. The school serves special needs kids between the ages of 5 and 22 years old. Damn. Oof. 5 and 22, that's a big difference. That is a huge gap. How many of you guys agree with that? That's a huge gap, age 5 to 22. But they suffer from emotional and behavioral difficulties. Okay? Now, Tony said BSO received the video of Miller at the school on September 27th, and the deputy was placed on desk duty the same day. The video was forwarded to BSO by Broward County Public Schools officials, according to the sheriff. And in the video, Miller is facing a wall and using his cell phone, and a girl appears to be pacing nervously right just to his right. There's a brief exchange of words before Miller grabs her near her throat and slams her to the ground. Now, the student has not been publicly identified because she is 15 years old, nor do I think she needs to be identified. So her face is going to be blurred out in the video, which we're getting ready to show here in a moment, okay? Now, Miller is seen in the video turning the teen over before he kneels on her back and handcuffs her. 2 others in the room inside the school while she was being taken into custody, and it's unclear if they had anything to do with notifying authorities about what happened in the room. Now, Tony said his detectives turned the case over to Broward State Attorney on October 23rd, and that Miller was suspended without pay on October the 28th, so just a few days ago. He was arrested more than a week later, which is kind of odd, but maybe that's just procedure. The video released by BSO contains no audio, so you'll just be able to see the video. Now, Jeff Bell, who's the president of BSO, BSO's largest police union and a frequent critic of Tony, said that the video looks awful, but Bell said that when the audio component is eventually released, it's likely to change the public's perspective on what actually occurred. And Bell said the student kicked the deputy before threatening him. So here's what I want to know from you guys. And if you're watching, please click the thumbs up. If that's true, do you guys think that what he did was justified if this 15-year-old girl kicked him? I've always believed in this thing. Keep your hands, feet, and other objects to yourself. I don't believe people just being able to just hit you and get away with it. But I do also believe that you can go overboard, and I think that he might have went overboard in this situation. But I don't know. Y'all got to let me know what y'all think. They say that she kicked him. Now, I'm going to show the video, so I'm not sure really just yet, but I'll let y'all watch the video, and y'all tell me what y'all think, okay? Now, the union president said that the student asked Miller what she had to do to get arrested, and then asked, "Do I have to take your gun from you?" before being taken to the ground. Oh, wow. Okay, well, damn, okay. Bell also questioned the timing of the arrest, noting that it took place the day after Tony declared his intention to run for office against Israel in August, but more than a week after the deputy was suspended. It wasn't that hard of a kick. I want y'all to watch the video. Asked Tuesday if the student did anything to provoke the takedown, and Tony responded, "Does it matter?" Does it matter? Me personally, yes, it matters. Especially when police perceive a threat by a man. The man looks like a threat, maybe says something, maybe flinches in a certain way, and the police pull their guns and shoot men down in the street all the time. Armed, and some are unarmed. So yes, whatever the person did to the police officer, if a citizen does something to a police officer, even if it's a student, they're still considered to be a citizen. Yes, I believe what they did matters. If they threatened to take his gun, yes, I think that matters. But at the same time, don't get me wrong, I think he went too far. So I'm on both sides. Everything is political with the sheriff, he said. "I could care less why she was in the room," said the sheriff. "Whatever type of verbal dialogue was going on, it makes no sense." Tony was appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis in January, shortly after the governor removed Israel from office for what he argued was poor training of his staff and lack of control of BSO deputies. And Israel's removal came in the wake of the Valentine's Day Parkland High School massacre that left 17 students and administrators dead and 17 others injured. Now, since his appointment, Tony has fired numerous officers and suspended others in attempt to clean up the department that he has repeatedly said is badly in need of a culture change. But by June, 4 officers who Tony said neglected their duty to confront the Parkland shooter were fired. Sheesh. Gone were Broward deputies Edward Eason, Joshua Stambaugh, Scott Peterson, and Brian Miller. 3 months later, more deputies were suspended without pay and charged for an incident in which a J.P. Taravella High School student's head was smashed on the pavement during an arrest after school. The student's charges were later dropped, and that could also be indicative that something was done incorrectly. Now, 2 of the 3 deputies, Sergeant Gregory Lucera and Chris Krichkovic, these weird names, were eventually charged with battery, and Deputy Ralph Mackey was charged with falsifying records. And just after a week, Broward Deputy Jorge Sobrino was fired after being charged with battery for a New Year's Eve incident captured on his body video camera, which was resting on a table in which a video taken in a hospital room. Sobrino was seen punching a man in the face who had been arrested earlier in the day, who was handcuffed to his hospital bed. My responsibility, said Tony, is to hold people accountable. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Let's go ahead and get this fair use popping. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
First, a BSO deputy seen grabbing a student by the neck and slamming her to the floor. Local 10 News reporter Andrew Perez is live with that shocking video. Andrew.
This is an investigation, by the way, that's been going on for more than a month. Several different agencies involved in all of this. A lot of people shocked when they watch this video very closely. That deputy walking out of jail just moments ago.
I think it's awful. I think it's not right.
That seems a little harsh.
Say a few words.
Not a word out of jail. The deputy taking a silent stroll. The video he's in, though, speaking volumes, according to the sheriff, who says the deputy took down a 15-year-old girl at a school.
I think right now it speaks for itself. I can care less why she was in the room. Whatever type of verbal dialogue was going on, it makes no sense and it wasn't necessary.
We have no comment. Please get that out of our face.
Relatives gathered in court watching Deputy Willard Miller face a judge. Authorities say he turned himself in on a charge of child abuse without great bodily harm.
His wife is present. They've been married for 18 years and they have 2 minor children. He has no prior criminal history.
He was a school resource deputy at Cross Creek School in Pompano Beach. It's an alternative school for children with emotional and behavioral disabilities.
So it was an alternative school. And this girl, from what they made it sound like, that she had special needs.
In the video, you see the deputy texting. A 15-year-old girl walks up and taps him on the leg. It's unclear.
Okay, now, I'm going to rewind that so y'all can see that part again. Let me back it up before I give my thoughts on it. Let's watch this part again. Here it is. Here's the kick.
See the deputy texting. A 15-year-old girl walks up and taps him on the leg.
Boom. Y'all know what that is. For y'all who have been in school, who are childish and done childish things, like myself and like a lot of my peers, that's to knock you off balance whenever somebody's standing upright and you tap them just behind the knee and it causes their bodies to buckle. It's supposed to be something that you think is funny, right? You think it's funny, and maybe to your peers it's funny, but apparently the police are just like, nah, don't do that shit to me. Right? Let's watch it again. But I want y'all to know this is what really prompted this whole thing. Here it is again. Let's watch.
A 15-year-old girl walks up and taps him on the leg. It's unclear why she's... Unclear why she's in the leg. The deputy texting. A 15-year-old girl walks up and taps him on the leg. It's unclear why she's in the room and why school officials brought her aside in the first place, but after words are exchanged, things quickly escalate.
Okay, now, here's my problem. Yes, she was messing with him. Yes, that's right, Kyle. It's fun. I get what you guys are saying, but here's my catch. Here's where the police officer completely loses all credibility for me. If what that girl did was that serious, when should he have taken her down? I know I didn't say that very clearly. I'll try to say it again. Y'all know I have a little bit of trouble speaking, but I'm trying to get better. I'm going to say it again. If that hit to him was as bad as he says it was, when should he have tried to arrest her? If you ask me, I think immediately he should have went to try to arrest her at that point if he felt like he was assaulted. Agree or disagree on that?
Walks up and taps him on the leg. It's unclear why she's in the room
there.
and why school officials...
He should have turned around, grabbed her by the arm right there, put her arms behind her back, and arrested her. She's a 15-year-old kid, and yes, I know some 15-year-olds can be strong. We all know this, depending on the race, depending on the size of the kid. That little girl looks like he could have handled her, grabbed her by her wrist or her arm, and put her arms behind her back and arrested her. That could have been simple, but he didn't immediately go in to arrest her, and that's why I believe that's where the egregious violation takes place, because apparently he didn't think it was that serious at that moment.
The deputy texting. A 15-year-old girl walks up and taps him on the leg. It's unclear why she's in the room and why school officials brought her aside in the first place, but after words are exchanged, things quickly escalate. Deputy Miller strides across the room, grabs the girl by the neck, and slams her into the ground.
I would hope that every cop in America would disagree with that type of response.
Miller was suspended without pay pending the outcome of this case. The sheriff telling us that despite his...
And the way that he slammed her down, and when she hit that floor and her head went backwards, that could have caused that girl or any human being. I want y'all to think about this. You appreciate the way I'm reported. I donated, but we'll get on the monthly payment plan. Oh, that's cool, Chelsea. Thank you. I appreciate that. Matter of fact, I do see it. Wow, guess you did. Let me give Chelsea a shout out. Let me take a pause for the cards real quick because she utilized the Cash App link, which is in the description box if you guys want to do that. Anything that you guys find in your budget, if you want to donate it to the show, and what we stand for on our platform is we advocate for children first. And Chelsea said for his good reporting, and she sent a very, very nice donation. So if you're listening, Chelsea, I want to say thank you to you for that. From my heart to yours, thank you. Again, if he would have thrown an adult down, a male adult, backwards, and that man flew backwards, hit the ground, and hit his head, that could have killed him. So you have to ask yourself, I think there should be a level of caution, a level of, what am I trying to say? I think that you just have to exercise your restraint, I guess. Know when to exercise your full amount of power and know when to not exercise your full power. I'm just saying, it didn't look like it was that serious to me. Even if she did say something that was threatening, just arrest her. God dog, like, why did you have to throw it to the ground like that, bro? I mean, damn. Let's look at this again. Let me also thank Elizabeth Richardson, who just joined the channel memberships. And thank you very much for joining the channel memberships. And we'd like to welcome you to the AFC. Elizabeth, thank you very much for doing that. Let's watch it again.
Quickly escalate. Deputy Miller strides across the room, grabs the girl by the neck, and slams her into the ground.
I would hope that every cop in America would disagree with that type of response.
Miller was suspended without pay pending the...
Self-control. Yeah, you could use that word also. So I'll go with that one for now because I can't. Sometimes my mind don't pick up the right words. So yeah, exercise a bit more self-control than that. I mean, damn.
The outcome of this case, the sheriff telling us that despite his clean record, behavior like this harms his brothers and sisters in uniform. The sheriff saying he's not going to tolerate stuff like this. This latest arrest comes about a week after BSO had to fire another deputy, Jorge Sobrino, who was caught on camera punching an inmate. All of these things are still.
Now to Florida, where a sheriff's.
Now that inmate that got punched in the hospital bed, I did see that video, and that one looked just as bad. If the dude is restrained and he's not going anywhere, it ain't no reason to punch the dude in the damn face. But nonetheless, let's move on.
Now to Florida, where a sheriff's deputy who worked at a school for children with special needs is under arrest tonight. Willard Miller is facing a felony charge after video shows him grabbing a female student and slamming her to the ground. Vladimir Dutier has new details.
The images are shocking. In this silent 2.5-minute video, a sheriff's deputy can be seen talking to a young girl before suddenly rushing her, grabbing her by the throat, and slamming her onto the ground. School resource officer Willard Miller then flips the 15-year-old girl on her stomach before forcibly lifting her up and throwing her out of the room. Sheriff Gregory Toney.
His actions were deplorable. They were uncalled for, and they violated multiple policies just on the optics.
It's unclear what prompted the violent response at Cross Creek School. School security cameras show the young girl walking up behind Miller and tapping the back of his knees with her foot, causing his legs to buckle before walking away. Sheriff Toney would not say what.
At that point, I believe he should have arrested her immediately at that point. And because he didn't, that lets you know that he wasn't in any level of harm. He wasn't scared or anything. His actions thereafter were not warranted. And I've got a lot more to say after this. I'm going to show you guys a couple more videos, though.
Miller and the girl said to each other after the knee tap, but he said nothing the girl said or did justify the 38-year-old deputy's actions.
I find probable cause.
Miller, seen here in court today, was released on a $5,000 bond. It was at least the fourth time this year that a Broward deputy has been charged with excessive force. Two deputies are awaiting trial on misdemeanor charges after a teen was beaten and pepper sprayed outside a McDonald's last spring. And last week, another deputy was fired after slugging a suspect who was handcuffed to a hospital bed.
That one. Let's watch those again. Let's look at this again. Because y'all have to understand, this is where all of this is coming from. So watch it again. If y'all are here, hit that thumbs up. Watch it again.
These actions.
Yes, his attention was on his phone. I agree. I don't think his attention should have been on the phone like that. Not if you feel like this little girl is that goddamn dangerous. Let me see. Amber Isbell just donated by way of the super chat. So let me say thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that and want to give you a shout out. First time donor. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I find probable cause.
Miller, seen here in court today, was released on a $5,000 bond. It was at least the fourth time this year that a Broward deputy has been charged with excessive force. Two deputies are awaiting trial on misdemeanor charges after a teen was beaten and pepper sprayed.
He slammed his forehead to the ground. I don't know, man. It's just sometimes these police do too much. Let's look at this again.
These are awaiting trial on.
Boom, right there. That, I'm not feeling that. He kind of jerked him back a little bit and slammed his head to the concrete. Not feeling that, man.
Misdemeanor charges after a teen was beaten and pepper sprayed outside a McDonald's last spring. And last week, another deputy was fired after slugging a suspect who was handcuffed to a hospital bed.
Sheriff Toney vowed today to continue cracking down on deputies who violate department standards. Deputy Miller, who has no record of disciplinary problems, has been suspended from the force and faces 1 count of felony child abuse. He could get up to 5 years in prison if convicted, Nora.
Damn.
The sheriff's deputy seen in this video is out on bond this morning, charged with felony child abuse after being caught on camera grabbing a 15-year-old girl by the neck and slamming her to the ground. Deputy Willard Miller, a school resource officer at Cross Creek School in South Florida, is then seen putting his knee in the student's back, pulling her off the ground, and throwing her into a room against a wall.
But you also have to remember this. What were those women going to do? They couldn't jump on the cop to stop him. That could have got them in trouble. Like, what were they really going to do? Like, I feel what y'all are saying. There's other people in the room. But most of us as Americans will watch police do something fucked up, and none of us will do anything. We will literally just kick back and just watch. And I'm personally not encouraging anybody to do anything, but I'm just saying, I think the most diligent thing you can do is just make sure that you're watching, recording, and be a credible witness, right? The best thing you can do as far as those situations, don't jump on the cops. I mean, you're going to put your life and your freedom at risk if that's what you want to do. But I'm just telling you, that's what you stand up against. But I don't really know what else those ladies that was in there was supposed to do.
And throwing her into a room against a wall.
The byproduct of his actions were deplorable. They were uncalled for, and they violated multiple policies just on the optics.
Deputy Miller was arrested, charged, and suspended from the force. Cross Creek is a school for children with emotional and behavioral needs. Before the violent interaction in late September, you see the student touch Deputy Miller with her foot, pushing the back of his leg. A minute later, it appears they exchange words, and then he walks across the room.
I would hope that every cop in America would disagree with that type of response.
Yep, somebody said if you step in, you could get assault of an officer. You absolutely could, which is probably a felony in itself. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is. Just saying.
It seems to come out of nowhere, a school resource deputy slamming a 15-year-old.
Let me ask you this. For the people that would find it difficult to stand there and just watch this happen, tell me, what do y'all think? What do you think they should have done? If you could put yourself in these ladies' shoes, what do y'all think that they should have done? Because me personally, I don't think there's anything else they could have did besides maybe pull out their phone and record. But there's already a camera in there, so the camera caught it. But I think the best thing that you could probably do is just be a credible witness in court. That's it. But what do y'all think, though? What do y'all think that those ladies should have did when this whole incident popped off?
A school resource deputy slamming a 15-year-old girl to the ground.
It's embarrassing, okay?
Today, the local sheriff announced 38-year-old deputy Willard Miller was charged with child abuse. After a bond hearing, his attorney had no comment.
Ooh, damn. So, healthy woman there. Quite healthy. I see you, sister. Black power. Yes. Sorry. Woo! Y'all know how I feel about obesity. I'm just saying. Even me, I've gone on a damn diet. I'm just saying. I've got my water. I've got my probiotics and my vitamins and my diet. All of that good stuff. I'm just saying. We gotta... Don't get mad. Don't get mad. We gotta do better. Gotta do better. Somebody in the chat said you could get up to 10 years in Virginia for assaulting a police officer. Maybe y'all can look that up. Tell me, how many years can y'all get where y'all are from, where y'all live at? How many years can you get for assaulting a police officer? I'm not going to look it up. I don't think it matters because I don't think you should assault a police officer. I don't even think you should even get anywhere close to it. Just saying, if y'all know they out killing people in the streets, then avoid those type of confrontations. Right?
He'd been hired 3 years ago and was assigned to the Cross Creek School in Pompano Beach, Florida.
I think it's awful.
Jack said, no excuses. I stopped a 200-pound man from harming me with blocks and holds until he tired himself out and no one was hurt. This is a 15-year-old girl and she looked frail and small. Come on, man. We know he could have done better than that. There was no reason for him to react. I think, and I'll be honest, because I've heard people say this, and y'all know that I'm not against the police. I'm not a police basher. I'm not one of those. But y'all know there are too many times when police do too much. How many of y'all out there know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of cops out there. They do too much. They are looking to jump into action. They're looking to shoot someone. They're looking to literally break their foot off in someone's ass. Y'all know that there are a lot of cops out there that feel that exact way. They are literally looking for the fight. They're looking for the action. They can't wait to get out there and get it cracking. I think this might have been one of those situations where he had a chance to think about it. He's like, you know what? Nah, she assaulted me. Let me go ahead and do something to her. I think that's probably what went on in his head, and he was gravely wrong.
I think it's not right. They have to know how to control themselves.
Authorities blurred the faces on the surveillance video, which is no audio, so it's not clear exactly what happened before the incident in late September. But you can see the girl appear to kick the deputy while he's on the phone. The sheriff says that doesn't matter.
I would hope that every cop in America would disagree with that type of response.
This comes after another Broward County deputy was fired last week for punching a hospitalized handcuffed man. And earlier this year, another deputy banged a teenager's head on the ground during a violent arrest near a high school.
I'm tired of it.
Tonight, the sheriff acting quickly after this newest incident.
So if we can't police ourselves, then who's going to police us?
Suspending Deputy Willard without pay as he faces a felony charge. Gabe Gutierrez and
First at noon, a school resource deputy with the Broward Sheriff's Office is arrested after video shows him taking down a female student. The incident happened at Cross Creek School in Pompano Beach back in September. And an internal investigation was launched immediately. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live outside VSO headquarters with the details and the video that led to the arrest. Ted.
Yeah, Lauren and Maribel, that Cross Creek School is an elementary school in Pompano Beach specifically for emotionally disturbed children. The deputy's name is Willard Miller. This afternoon, he is charged with child abuse. Now, take a look at this video. This was shot on September 25th. It shows a 15-year-old girl initially tapping Miller's leg with her foot. Moments later, we see Miller grab that girl by the neck and slam her to the ground. We do not know what led up to this encounter. However, the sheriff said it doesn't really matter because he said there is no excuse for these actions. This comes after a string of deputies are being investigated and fired for excessive force here at BSO.
I'm tired of it. I don't want to spend time standing here about disciplinary actions for a very small population of people who break outside of what they're supposed to be doing. But I'm going to fix it. And I'm going to hold people accountable. If I have to do this 15 more times, we're going to do it 15 more times. And to those small fraction of people out there and deputies who don't get it are held accountable, and we're going to move them on.
So here's where things stand right now. Miller was arrested this morning. He's expected in bond court this afternoon. At the moment, he is suspended without pay, but there is an internal affairs investigation going on right now. And by the way BSO found out about all this is the school district was doing a completely separate investigation into something completely different. When they came across this video and noticed this video, obviously they were quite shocked. They let the sheriff's office know. Also in that video, you'll notice that there were several other people in that room with the deputy and with that 15-year-old girl. Apparently they didn't say anything, so at this point I asked the sheriff what's going on with those people. They said all of that is part of the investigation. Live at BSO headquarters, Ted Scouten.
Like I said, I'm not sure what they were supposed to do, but I could just be dumb on that. But I'll let you guys watch this again. This is just the footage by itself. And I'll say this. What this officer did in this particular instance, we don't want to look at too many incidents, but what I can say, boom, right? God, dog, man. Do that to my kid, bruh. I might be a bad day for that cop, man. I think that this makes the police look even worse. And that's why you guys have this reaction from the police.
Byproduct of his actions were deplorable.
From him. That's why you have this reaction from him. Because of the fact that this continues to make police look even worse. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Y'all know that family, whoever is the family of that little girl who apparently has not raised her to have any manners or behave properly, I think that the parents, whoever it is, whether it's a mother and a father or both or none, they have failed this little girl because they did not teach her manners and respect. Period. I don't think that schools should have to raise your children. That's not their responsibility. Their responsibility is to educate your kid, not to babysit them, not to train them how to do basic things that they should be learning at home. Right? But nonetheless, they have to swoop down on this because that family is now going to benefit off of this girl. What do we call that here in the AFC? Does anybody know? Does anybody remember what our hashtag is? Hashtag babies for benefits. Why is she in this alternative school? Why did she have behavioral issues? We're assuming, because we don't know her identity, we're just assuming. Most of the kids that I knew that went to alternative schools, it was because they were bad. Period. They were just badass. They didn't give a damn about authority. They didn't listen. They didn't want to follow instructions, and they were disruptive to the rest of their classmates. Right? Yes, Boneham could have cracked that girl's skull open. Absolutely right. You're saying autism? Somebody look into it. I don't know. They haven't released the girl's identity. So until they say something like that, then I can't assume that. I'm going to assume that this is just somebody who's in alternative school. Most of the kids I knew in alternative school, like I said, they were just hella disruptive and bad and got into a bunch of fights and stuff like that. That's very normal for kids about her age. So we don't know that though. Not sure.
They were uncalled for, and they violated multiple policies just on the optics. He was arrested this morning on one count of child abuse without great bodily harm, which is a third-degree felony.
All right, let's move on. Got a couple more to show you real quick. This is, again, more footage. Why he has his back turned like that, I don't know. I don't know why she's in. I don't know. I don't know. There's too many questions, and they're saying that there actually is audio. But watch this. Here we go. And she walks right up behind him. Now let me wait. Let me pause this. I'm gonna pause it right there. I'm gonna point something out to you guys. Maybe I'm the dummy in the room. But last time I checked, if you're at a school with a bunch of children who have severe behavioral problems, have been put out of other schools and using this as an alternative school for whatever reason, if you are going to come into the school with a weapon on your hip or a gun or a taser or anything like that, I don't know if he has a gun on him, but I'm assuming if he's a regular cop, he probably does. Why would you have your back turned on a girl who is clearly separated from her peers, meaning she probably had an incident or a problem and she's separated from them? And if she's a problem, then you're in a room with somebody who has a problem and you're paying no attention. You're on your fucking phone. You're standing outside the window. And this person could have literally walked up right behind you just as easily as she tapped him and was just playing with him. She played too much, right? The little girl played too much. What else could she have done? He wasn't watching his back. That's my point. She could have just as easily grabbed his weapon or any weapon that he had on his persons. Right? All this time, he has no idea she's even behind him. Just throwing that out there. Let's finish up. Instead of taking his gun and doing something crazy, she just decides to... And she's standing behind him for a cool minute, too. He has no idea. Boom. He had no idea. She was behind him for about a good 30 seconds. I just think you got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to have a lot more, what do they call that? Presence of mind than what he displayed here. Look, he hasn't arrested her. All of this time, she's still walking around. All of this time. All of this time. Time is still going. Look at that. Look how much time passed. Seconds. 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 Y'all get my point? I'm gonna let y'all know when I pause it. It's still rolling. Seconds. Still going. Bam. Right there. That let me know that that so-called push to the back of the leg, the little tap to the back of the leg, was insignificant. The reason why it was insignificant, because he let that much time pass, and that means he had no intention of doing anything to her because of that. It was something that she said that prompted this. And if you say something to the police, a lot of y'all, I've seen a lot of people out there, a lot of y'all have maybe said some things that were abhorrent to the police. A lot of y'all have said some things that were harsh. Maybe some of y'all have cursed out the police, maybe smarted off to the police. But what you say to a cop should not deem them to handle you in an improper way. What you say to a police officer does not give them the right to kick your ass. Period. This looks like she said something to him and he reacted. And for that period, he's going to be wrong all day long. And if they give him jail time, then so be it, bruh. You're going to be up in there doing jail time. Sorry, but there's nothing right about that. All that time passed. Inexcusable. And you know what I think? I'm going to tell y'all what I personally think. He didn't have presence of mind to know that that little girl was standing right behind him for damn near 30 seconds. And guess what else? Guess what else that he didn't count on being there in that room? Anybody want to take a guess? His presence of mind was so bad that he had no idea that he was on camera. That never crossed his mind. What do y'all think about that? He totally forgot that he was on camera. Because I promise you, if he forgot that he was on camera and he didn't realize that that little girl was behind him, I guarantee you that he would have did this completely different. Guarantee that. He would not have done what y'all saw. And to me, that is indicative of somebody who is guilty. Yep. Smile, you're on Candid Camera. How many of y'all remember Candid Camera, the TV show? Because cameras are more prevalent now than they have ever been in history. There's a camera on everything. Cameras are everywhere. Even where I live, like where I live at, in my abode, in my humble abode, I have security cameras my damn self. Just saying. And then threw her in that closet like that. I have no idea what he was trying to accomplish. But that was actually the full video. That was actually the full video that actually showed you how long that little girl was standing behind him. And again, I call her a little girl because she was very frail body, real frail.
And now a Broward Sheriff's deputy under arrest after slamming a student to the floor. Broward Sheriff Gregory Toney says the incident happened in late September at Cross Creek School in Pompano Beach.
And Sheriff Toney had some strong words for deputies acting inappropriately on the job. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live at the school with the latest. Ted.
Yeah, Rudaban Elliott, Sheriff Toney calls incidents like this deplorable and says that he plans to hold deputies accused of using excessive force accountable. This is where it happened right here. This is the Cross Creek Alternative School in Pompano Beach. It happened in September. That deputy tonight is in the Broward County Jail.
I didn't even know that some of y'all were old enough to remember that show, Candid Camera. Maybe I just told on myself. Maybe I'm a little bit old over here.
You are before the court this afternoon for one charge of abuse of child without great bodily harm.
After 3 years on the job at BSO, Deputy Willard Miller ends up in front of a judge, a defendant accused of child abuse, highlighted in this surveillance video. It was captured at Cross Creek Alternative School in Pompano Beach. He worked there as a school resource deputy.
The byproduct of his actions were deplorable. They were uncalled for.
Broward Sheriff Gregory Toney released the video. It shows a 15-year-old girl initially tapping the deputy's leg with her foot. Moments later, the child is grabbed by the neck and slammed to the ground.
For whatever occurred, whatever type of verbal dialogue was going on, It makes no sense, and it wasn't necessary.
As the video continues, we see the child flipped over, the deputy putting his knee in her back and cuffing her. Moments later, she's picked up by her cuffed arms and shoved through a doorway, causing her to hit a wall.
It's embarrassing, okay? When we have one individual that act outside the confines of the oath that they take, it goes on every news channel. It spreads across the country. And it impacts not only the agency, but it impacts everybody who carries a badge on their chest.
That dude looked like a bird took a wet shit on the top of his head. I'm sorry, but that is really weird to look at on camera. Like somebody took like a clear egg and just dropped it on top of his. Look, I'm just saying, I sweat really bad. I know how it is. I know the struggle. I know how bad it gets. So, yeah. Just saying, damn.
Yvonne Gonzalez has a grandchild who goes to school here. She found the video disturbing.
Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, he got arrested. Oh, well, she deserved it.
The latest arrest comes after a string of other videos
Wait. Did she say he deserved it or she deserved it? Let's listen again. Let's listen to Grandma Gonzalez again. Let's listen.
Not only the agency, but it impacts everybody who carries a badge on their chest.
Yvonne Gonzalez has a grandchild who goes to school here. She found the video disturbing.
Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, he got arrested. Oh, well, she deserved it.
The latest.
Maybe she misspoke.
Child who goes to school here. She found the video disturbing.
Oh my God, look at that. Oh my God, he got arrested. Oh, well, she deserved it.
She said at the end, he or she deserved it.
The latest arrest comes after.
I think she was talking about him, though.
After a string of other videos showing deputies accused of using excessive force.
Thank you again. Amber Isbell just sent in a $2 Cash App and said, thanks, Jay. Not Cash App, but Super Chat. Why do I always get that confused? But send in a Super Chat that says, thanks, Jay, for all you do, and I appreciate you. And Amber, I appreciate you, like I say, man, for just taking a token of your appreciation and just sharing it with me. And I really appreciate you doing that. I really do. So thank you very much.
In this incident, the deputy is seen punching an inmate cuffed to a hospital bed. He was fired. And many remember the DeLuca roll pepper spraying and rough takedown in Tamarack. In this case, 2 deputies are still awaiting trial.
I'm tired of it. There's your line. I'm tired of it.
Sheriff Tony said he's working on the culture at BSO to stop instances like this and make sure deputies who tarnish the badge are dealt with.
But I'm going to fix it. And I'm going to hold people accountable.
And the school district released a statement tonight saying that they are also looking into this. Bond in this case was set at $5,000.
I'll say this to the person in the chat that says that that we always try to make things black and white. Well, most of the issues that we have in this country are really black and white, though. That's the difference. A lot of things are made to be black and white, even though we have Asians here, even though we have Mexicans here, even though we have Puerto Ricans here, even though we have some Canadians here. We have people from all types of places here. It's the melting pot of the world here in the United States of America. We got all kinds of people here, but somehow it's always a struggle between the 17% of the population, which is declining, by the way, the 17% versus everybody else. So yes, it is always a black and white issue. And a lot of what I try to do here, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but a lot of what I try to do is I try to erase those lines and just really put a focus back on family and children. How many people that are listening to the sound of my voice know that that's what I've been trying to accomplish in my small little platform, my small little world? I've been trying to make sure and just shift the focus from race and color and creed and what's the other one? And class, depending on whether you're lower class, upper class, middle class, high class, whatever class. I talk about children, period. Children can't speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves against the tyranny of those who are in charge of taking care of them. In this case, it was a resource officer who handled this badly. His name is Willard Miller. He's 38 years old. He's my age. He comes from my generation. I'm telling y'all that what he did was 100% wrong. Now, I will tell you guys this about the little girl's actions, because if you give her another year or two, if she's 17 or 18 years old, in some states she's considered to be grown, right? She's considered to be grown. So her assault of this officer actually does make a difference. It does matter. And I think that the police would be right in firing him and charging the 15-year-old girl. What do y'all think about that? I bet y'all didn't see that coming. I think that in order to save face, to show that not only the police were not 100% negligible, because they're going to be sued for it civilly, I think that they also need to charge that girl with simple assault. Because if you touch a police officer, grab a police officer, spit on a police officer, push a police officer, in any place on the United States of America, they are going to charge you. They would charge a 7-year-old. They charge a 5-year-old. So yes, 15 is a hell of a lot closer than 10. 15 is a hell of a lot closer to being grown. Maybe 2.5 years, maybe even 2 years before she turns 18 years old. And that simple push in the back of the leg could have ended up being a flat out assault on that police officer. And it could have ended up being justified if there were no cameras, right? But because this is a girl, or just because this is a woman or a girl, shouldn't change this rule. And I think that what they need to do is they need to update the standards. I took notes. They need to update the standards when men commit assault against an officer. So if these boys that do these exact same things to the police officers, if you're not going to do this and treat the girls that way, then I don't think that you should treat the boys that way. And I don't think that you should slam them down and beat them down the way that they did here. Or update the standards, right? The part about special needs, that means that everybody, including those women in there, including that officer, the teachers, and everybody else that works there, should be properly trained to deal with these special circumstances. Everybody there needs special training. Everybody, especially that cop. Next point. It does matter because everyone should be held accountable, even the kids. And I believe in keeping your hands, feet, and other objects to yourself. You guys know that I've been preaching that for a long time. I'm not down with it. I love kids, but one thing I do not stand for is for kids to hit adults. Don't put yourself in an adult's place. You don't assault adults. You don't hit adults. You don't hit police officers. Again, we're talking about keeping people accountable. So as a kid, if you would not hit an adult, then you don't hit an adult as you get older. And it works vice versa. If you're a big old huge adult, if you wouldn't hit a kid, then you shouldn't hit a grown-up person either. Everybody needs to just keep their fucking hands to themselves. Right? And my last point, again, is I believe that the police and the police chief are doing the exact right thing. Get him out of here. Give him his time in jail. Let him think about what he did. And I don't think that police that do these type of things should be able to get more police jobs. That's my opinion. This is your boy DJ Just Jay. I'm signing out. Thank you guys so much for listening to this stream. We're the AFC. We advocate for children first. And I'm just saying, we're pretty fair over here. I call it pretty down the middle. It's black and white. See you guys on the next stream, man. Peace.